It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the films of June 16th, 2000. We got 3 movies to look at today, so let's not waste any more time. Let's go ahead and jump on into it. We'll start off with the biggest new release of the weekend, Shaft. So this is kind of a remake, but also seen as kind of a contemporary sequel to the original 1971 movie, which of course starred Richard Roundtree and won Isaac Hayes the Oscar for the theme song for Shaft. Basically, this movie is basically Samuel L. Jackson's character is related to the earlier film Shaft. You basically have John Shaft, played by Jackson, who is the lead detective on a sensitive case. A young black man is severely beaten. The man's companions tell Shaft that their friends humiliated the one who was spouting racial slurs at him. Staff confronts him, and he said he's Walter Wade Jr., the son of a wealthy man. And Shaft finds that he has the idea of a woman who's a waitress at this bar where Wade and the guys who were attacked were. When Wade continues to hurl racial comments, Shaft smacks him. Shaft learns that because of his actions, Wade was granted bail and fled. 2 years later, Wade returns and Shaft arrests him. At the hearing when the judge grants him bail, that's when Shaft throws his badge at the judge. He then sets out to get Wade to find the waitress. Wade, in the meantime, asks a drug dealer named Peoples Hernandez to find the waitress and make sure she doesn't talk. And, comparing this to the one that came out not too long ago, the more comedic remake of Shaft with Jackson and Roundtree, and I think I can't remember who the third person was. I can't remember who it was. Jesse T. Usher. That one, I didn't hate it as much as everybody else did, but especially comparing that to this movie is definitely the better of the two Shaft movies with Samuel L. Jackson in it. I mean, the one that they did was supposed to be kind of a satirical satire of the Shaft series overall. And at times I thought it worked, but at the same time, it wasn't as great as I think people were letting it up. I was kind of hoping it would be, because you got Samuel L. Jackson, you got Richard Roundtree, Regina Hall's in that movie. Anything she's in, I'll usually be there on opening day just to see her in it. And I thought it was okay, but it wasn't what it really should have been. I think that doing this in more of a contemporary setting might have been a little bit of a risky challenge at first, but you have a great director like John Singleton who really made this work better than I thought it could have been. I mean, this is definitely a movie where it's just coming more in line with what you expect from a Shaft movie, and more importantly, it does a good job of bringing John Shaft and everything about the character into a modern setting and not feeling like it's there just out of its timeline, like this is something that should have stayed in the 70s. They do a good job of modernizing this, and they've got a really great cast overall to really make it work. Vanessa Williams, Jeffrey Wright, Christian Bale, Dan Hedaya, Buster Rhymes, Toni Collette, and even Roundtree himself is in this film as well. I thought they did a very good job with it. I think it was well handled. I think it was actually well performed overall. Samuel Jackson, I mean, anytime you put that guy in something, he'll usually give it his all, even if it's a really bad movie. And he's been in a lot of bad movies too, but I mean, he fits the role so well. I think the movie did a pretty good job of handling this very well. It's definitely worth a watch. Even if you've never seen the original Shaft, I think you can definitely get a lot out of this movie and really appreciate it for what it was doing. I had a real good time with it. I really enjoyed this one a lot. Definitely check it out. Shaft, I highly recommend it. So, with that said, on to our next movie, and that is Don Bluth's Titan AE. So Titan AE kind of marks a number of different things. Specifically, this is the last film directed by Don Bluth, who this was a highly touted film. This was a film that Fox really had a lot of high hopes for. The teaser trailer for this actually premiered way back in May of '99 when Star Wars: The Phantom Menace came out, and now over a year later, the movie finally comes out, and it just kind of falls in the same category as a lot of original sci-fi content, trying to be something unique and original, and it just doesn't have enough there to really get it to where I think they wanted it to go. You basically have a story here where you have the young man here played by Matt Damon, who after a hostile species destroys Earth in the year 3028, receives a mission to save humanity and protect the giant ship that can create a new planet. Along the way, he joins up with a ship's crew and their captain. The captain's played by Bill Pullman, and Drew Barrymore also has a role in here as well, who helps him find the ship before the aliens can destroy it. And I think this was a very ambitious project, but it was a film that really, it has a little bit of a hard time mixing in the CG and the 2D animation. I think that was really one of the things that really kind of hurt it in the long run. But The animation overall is very good. I think the cast overall and the visuals, when they work, they do work very well here. But a lot of the problem with the movie comes in the story department and the character department. Like, this is stuff that we've seen done numerous times in movies that are trying to be the next Star Wars or trying to be the next big sci-fi franchise. I mean, it's hard to make an original sci-fi concept and it succeed. I mean, look at what just happened this year with The Creator, which is a film that was highly touted as an original sci-fi feature that took a lot of inspiration from other movies, but ended up crashing and burning at the box office because it didn't do it well enough. This is a film that I feel like had the same problems, and unfortunately, it marked the end of Fox Animation Studios for a little bit before they eventually went on to make team up with Blue Sky, and then went on to make their own movies again, starting with the Simpsons movie about it's very late down the road in the decade. But Joss Whedon was one of the writers on here. Ben Edlund, the creator of The Tick, was one of the writers on here. John August, good writers overall here. Just not a good script overall to really keep the movie from becoming its own thing, like its own unique thing. Like, that's really the biggest problem with it overall. It's trying so hard to be the next big thing that it has to rehash a lot of the same stuff we've seen done better in other sci-fi movies, specifically Star Wars films, and it just can't go over that level where it could really be something incredible and really stand out on its own. Like I said, it's really hard to make good original sci-fi. I mean, once in a while it comes around. You get a District 9 every once in a while, but then again, you get something like a Creator or something like a Lucy or something like an Transcendence. And movies that have good ideas, just wrong execution. And this is a film that I definitely feel like has a lot of good ideas, but just not the right execution. And it's the end of an era because, like I said, this was the last movie Don Bluth directed before he couldn't get another film off the ground. I mean, it'd be nice to see him tackle more films again because he is still working. Like, he is still very much working on other projects, but this is the last big theatrical release he had. And, you know, seeing these on a big screen really make a big difference, honestly. Like, I would really like to see a 2D animation renaissance nowadays and Don Bluth getting another chance to direct a movie again, which I hope happens. I heard Disney is trying to go back to 2D animation again, so maybe that could be something down the road, but I don't know. But in terms of Titan AE, a lot of things about it work, but a lot of things about it don't work overall, and I can't really recommend it per se. I think for a one-time watch, it's fine, but it's not one you want to go back and watch over and over again, honestly. At least in my opinion, it isn't. So with that said, let's move on to our last movie, and that is Boys and Girls. So the story here is that you have two main characters, Ryan, played by Freddie Prinze Jr., and Jennifer, played by Claire Forlani. They meet each other initially as adolescents and later realize that their lives are intertwined through fate. You also have Jason Biggs and Amanda Detmer playing the other couple in here. And right off the bat, my first thought about this movie is, man, the casting in this movie really is bad. Like, Jason Biggs is supposed to be the suave, sex-craved, guy. Like, he's supposed to be like a character that Freddie Prinze Jr. would play in a movie like this. But they have the roles switched around here. And really, that's one of the first signs that this movie really is not going to work in the end. Not to say that Prinze Jr. and Claire Forlani don't have good chemistry together, but the biggest problem this movie has, and I just realized it watching this trailer again, it's basically a teeny bop version of When Harry Met Sally, and not a good version of When Harry Met Sally. I mean, When Harry Met Sally is one of the best romantic comedies ever made, honestly. But it works because you have two great minds behind the scenes in front of the camera, too, with Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan. I mean, two really good, high-caliber actors at the top of their game at that time. But here, it just feels like they're ripping off When Harry Met Sally, and they're not even trying to hide it. The casting, like I said, is not very good. These characters really don't fit the actors that are playing them overall, and it just doesn't work overall. It's a movie that I think was trying to do something a little bit clever and a little bit more interesting, but I think because this director did She's All That, and then previously before that he did Cinderella, I think that gave him a free pass to basically do whatever the hell they wanted to do with it, and it just didn't work out in the end. Like I said, I think the biggest problem with the film overall is the casting of the two main guys in this movie is swapped around, and it really hurts the complexion of the film overall. Like, Jason Biggs would actually be in another movie later this year called Loser, which I think works better because that plays more to what we expect from a Jason Biggs role here. We don't expect him to be, on the same level as a Stifler in this movie. I mean, that makes no sense whatsoever. Like, it just doesn't work here. It's a real missed opportunity on so many levels. Boys and Girls, it's not worth it in the end. And so with that said, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. When we meet next time, we'll have 2 movies to look at on the next episode. The Farrelly Brothers' latest film, Me, Myself, and Irene, with Jim Carrey and Renee Zellweger, and DreamWorks' first collaboration with Harman Animation, Chicken Run. So 2 movies to look at next time. We will delve into those on the next episode. But until then, thank you very much for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the playlist on the next page, check out the previous episode, and also don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this on this channel. So with that said, I am off. I will see you guys next time, and until then, as always, take care.